Right now, as you're listening to this, your brain is quietly deleting itself. Not in a scary way, in a beautiful, purposeful way. Your brain is literally pruning away connections it no longer needs, like a gardener trimming a tree to help it grow stronger. This process is called synaptic pruning. And once you understand how it works, you can actually control what your brain keeps and what it throws away. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how your brain's delete button works and how to use it to literally reshape who you are. Let's start with the basics. When you're born, your brain has roughly 100 billion neurons. That's about the same number of stars in our galaxy. But here's what's truly mind-blowing. By the time you're 2 years old, you have more synaptic connections than you'll ever have again in your entire life. Your toddler brain is like a wild, overgrown garden, connections everywhere, reaching in every direction, tangled and chaotic. And that's where the pruning begins. Starting around age 2, your brain starts a massive cleanup operation. It looks at all those connections and asks one simple question. Is this connection being used? If the answer is yes, it stays. It gets stronger. It gets wrapped in a protective coating called myelin that makes signals travel faster. But if the answer is no, if that connection hasn't been used, it gets marked for deletion, and the brain's cleanup crew comes in to remove it. These cleanup workers are called glial cells, specifically a type called astrocytes and microglia. Think of them as your brain's own personal gardeners. They literally eat unused synapses. It's a process called phagocytosis. Your brain cells are consuming other brain cells to make the whole system more efficient. So, here's the big takeaway. Your brain operates on a simple rule. Use it or lose it. Every thought you think, every action you take, every habit you repeat, you are telling your brain, keep this connection. This one matters. And every thought you avoid, every skill you neglect, every behavior you stop, you're telling your brain, delete this. I don't need it anymore. This is why you can forget a language you learned in school if you never speak it. The connections are still there at first, but without use, they slowly fade. And this is also why practice makes permanent. When you play piano every day, those neural pathways get thicker, faster, and almost automatic. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The majority of this pruning doesn't happen while you're awake. It happens while you sleep. When you fall into deep sleep, your brain activates what scientists call the glymphatic system. Think of it as a power wash for your brain. Cerebrospinal fluid flows through your brain tissue, washing away toxic waste products, including a protein called beta amyloid, which is linked to Alzheimer's disease. This is why sleep deprivation is so devastating. Without enough sleep, your brain can't clean house. The unused connections pile up, the waste accumulates, and your thinking gets foggy. So, the first and most powerful way to use your brain's delete button, get good sleep. 7 to 9 hours consistently. That's when the magic happens. But here's the part most people miss. Pruning doesn't just delete random things. It deletes what you're not using. And that means, if you keep using negative patterns, those stay. If you worry every day, your brain thinks, oh, worrying must be important. Let me make this pathway stronger. And the pathways for calm and confidence? Pruned. If you scroll through bad news every morning, your brain strengthens the fear response. It gets better and better at being afraid because you're training it to be. This is the dark side of synaptic pruning. Your brain doesn't judge what's good for you and what's bad. It only knows what you use the most. But here's the exciting part. You can flip this around. If pruning deletes what you don't use, then you can choose to starve your negative pathways. Every time you catch yourself worrying and choose to redirect that thought, every time you notice negativity and consciously shift your focus, you're weakening those connections. It's not about being positive all the time. That's unrealistic. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing where you invest your mental energy. Because whatever you feed grows, and whatever you starve eventually disappears. So, Let me give you a practical framework. There are 4 key strategies to use your brain's delete button intentionally. Strategy 1. Starve the loops. When you notice a negative thought loop, worry, comparison, self-doubt, don't fight it. Just stop feeding it. Redirect your attention to something else. Strategy 2. Build new pathways with repetition. Want to be more confident? Practice confidence daily. Even in small ways, your brain will build a highway for it. Strategy 3. Protect your sleep. Remember, sleep is when the deep cleaning happens. Treat your bedtime like a sacred appointment with your brain's maintenance crew. Strategy 4. Be mindful of your inputs. What you watch, read, listen to, and who you spend time with. All of this shapes which connections your brain keeps. If you fill your mind with inspiring content, meaningful conversations, and creative challenges, those are the pathways that will survive the next round of pruning. Think about this for a moment. Every single day, you are sculpting your brain, not with a chisel, but with your choices. The thoughts you repeat become highways. The thoughts you abandon become dust. Your brain is always listening, always adapting, always pruning. So tonight, before you fall asleep, ask yourself, what did I feed my brain today? What pathways did I strengthen? And which ones am I ready to let go? Because your brain has a delete button, and every night, it's waiting for your answer. Here's something remarkable that scientists only discovered in the last few decades. Your brain never stops changing. For a long time, scientists believed that the adult brain was fixed, that after a certain age, you couldn't grow new connections. But that turned out to be completely wrong. Your brain is plastic, meaning it can reshape itself at any age. Whether you're 25 or 75, your brain is still pruning, still building, still adapting. London taxi drivers are a perfect example. Researchers found that their hippocampus, the brain region for navigation, was physically larger than average. Years of memorizing complex street maps literally grew that part of their brain. This means the pruning process isn't something that happens to you. It's something you can actively direct. You are the gardener of your own mind. And one of the most powerful tools for directing this process? Meditation. Studies from Harvard showed that just 8 weeks of regular meditation physically increased the gray matter in areas linked to self-awareness, compassion, and emotional regulation. At the same time, the amygdala, your brain's fear and stress center, actually shrank. Less fear, more awareness, just from sitting quietly and paying attention.